And I don't know what would have happened if I had continued. I knew that I would not take the class. I had this one professor who was interesting. I find out later. I study fascism because World War II and World War I, World War II obviously, but European history and humanity's depravity, the opposite of what I aspire to, is fascinating to me. It's like, why do people choose to be fascist? Well, this professor, I hated his guts. We read his book, and his paragraphs went on for 2 pages. And then when all the exams were regurgitation of exactly what he wrote in those paragraphs that you couldn't understand. And his book's like fat, and it's like, but it turns out that he was like this massive expert in fascism, which I had no idea, but he never expressed it. His things were just so, so I couldn't do that. Sorry, long answer. Do I ever have problems with my voice? I'm very careful with my voice. I drink a lot of water. When I'm doing a game, after every take, I drink water, and I usually drink room temperature or warm water. Sometimes lemon and honey, but usually just very careful on the voice. I'm very cautious, and I'm also, as an actor, I'm always very paranoid. I'm always afraid of getting sick, when I'm, going, because it's like, what could be worse? Well, of course, I was going to Australia in 2001 for a Mario Sunshine release. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be so fun. I have a week and a half of interviews. We have 35 interviews lined up. And then the next week, I had completely off to go running around, scampering around Australia. And I arrived, I get off the plane, and I'm like, we went and did the first interview. There was kind of a bonus interview. And I went, I think I'm getting laryngitis. I had not had laryngitis for 15 years. And I went, oh, no, I'm not. And I'm like, and I tell the client, and I said, no, you're not. Don't worry, Mike. You're all right. Don't worry. And he's thinking, oh my God, well, this guy has laryngitis. What am I going to do? So, and of course, so I would do another interview, and I'm like, uh-oh, I can feel now. I can feel this tick. I know I'm getting laryngitis. And I'm starting to get paranoid. And I go to my room, and I turn the shower on hot water, and I'm drinking concoctions and taking aspirins and things. And I'm like, oh my God. And I got steam pouring into the room. I set the fire alarm off, and the fire chief came to the door with the manager. Dong, 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 dong. Hey, we're going to break the door down. And he's like, whoa, because it always, So, and of course, I got full laryngitis. And we had 35 interviews, but luckily, it was like 7 days, so we moved it to the next week, and we got everything in, but yeah, I'm terrified of that sort of thing. So you got to take really good care of your instrument, as it were. Yeah, so no punching things if you're an artist. Yeah?
Have you thought about doing animation?
Have I thought about doing animation? I've done a few little anime, you mean like anime and stuff like that? Yeah, I don't have the time. I used to be able to go, I'll do my Mario thing and I'll do everything else and I don't really have the time to do that stuff anymore. There are also tons of young artists who are looking for work and ready to break into that thing, and I have a wonderful life. And so for me to oh no, I'm going to go get as much as I possibly can. And, when I'm free, I travel now. I get on a plane and I go places. I like 8 months, 9 months a year. So yes, I still do things every once in a while, but less and less, Yeah.
Does Nintendo own your Super Mario voice, or are you allowed to use it anywhere you want?
Does Nintendo own my Super Mario voice, or am I allowed to use it anywhere I want? My Mario voice is exclusively belonging to Nintendo, and it's by their gracious consent that I go and I do anime shows and I do autographs at different events that are non-Nintendo, as well as Nintendo makes sure that I'm out and about and doing lots of stuff. And that's the thing as an artist too, is you create something, but when you create something that's like a licensable product, which is Mario is possibly the biggest licensed product in the world, then the company has to protect that, and they do, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
I was wondering, during your education, when you started acting, weren't you afraid of failing, and how did you deal with failure?
That's a great question. When I started acting, wasn't I afraid of failing? And was that a big deal to me to be afraid of failing? I was absolutely petrified the first time I went on stage. It was in Arms and the Man, a Bernard Shaw play, and I was the Russian guard, you know. Pardon me, madam, but there is this herb on your balcony, you know, and then I'm doing my Boris Karloff impression, and I'm like, I was terrified of failing. But at the same time, I have to say, it was such an adventure. You know, I love Mario because it's like, he's like full of courage and self-confidence, and every time he faces any adversity, he's like, let's go, woohoo! You know, but I tend to be more like Luigi. You know, it's like, you know. So, you know, being afraid is a great part of life because it means you've got to go do something. If you're completely comfortable and you have no fear, no anxiety, well, how can you create? How can you do anything, you know? So I think in part of me was too unaware of what I was doing. I wasn't aware that I was living my destiny. I just was doing it. So that part was completely unafraid. I had anxiety about, oh my gosh, well, this is the only thing I can do is act. I couldn't possibly do anything else. And then anxiety like, oh my God, I'm working at this theater. I could never work at another theater. Oh, I don't know if I could go. So I had those anxieties. But fear of failure, I mean, you have to, right? We all have to be afraid of failure. But I don't think that that was in my focus. I think that I was doing what I love to do. At least I was discovering that I love to do it. And so I suspended the fear just to do it, you know? I think, and I hope that's a good thought for you. It's like, you know, absolutely, you know, the fear of failure is big. The fear of success is also big, you know, because, you know, oh my God, what if I make it to the top? Then what am I going to do? I'll be stale or whatever you think. But you know, you just dog on the beach, dog on the beach, dog on the beach. Get the ball, get the stick, you know. Draw from your passion and live that passion because that's what makes you an artist. That's what makes you unique. And what you do is you bring yourself. You don't bring, you know, oh, I know, I'm going to figure out how to make drapes like that. You don't bring that. You know, you bring your heart and you bring your persona, who you are to what you do. And, you know, the other thing is don't judge your art. Don't judge yourself. Suspend that. Suspend the fear of failure. Suspend the fear of yourself.
One last question.
Yeah. Wow. Yes, Lord. One more.
What did your family say the first time you came home and you said, like, I'm going to be a video game character, but I don't even know?
Well, you know, my family is always very supportive of me. You know, we didn't have a whole lot, but, you know, if I said, I want to go to acting school, my mom and dad said, okay, you know, you're going to acting school. And they were very supportive of that, which is, I really appreciate that every day. And, you know, my mom, she was a school teacher. And so when she retired, she kept going into acting school. So she'd like take all the press clippings of me in the theater, and she laminated them. You know, you just put the plastic on both sides of them. So I have these massive volumes of my picture, you know, laminated everywhere. And she also has this great idiosyncrasy. She puts everything in Ziploc plastic bags. You know what those are? Zip. I do the same thing. I used to go, oh Mom, that is the most embarrassing thing. So what do? I have all my vitamins in a Ziploc bag. I have all my this in a Ziploc bag. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, believe it or not, I'm going to terrify you. You become your parents. In one way or another, you become your parents. And what's amazing too about human beings is, you know, I've raised babies, my friends' babies, and you realize that when you hold this baby in your arm, and you see the traits of that baby, 27 years later, they're still the same. Those traits follow through. That there's a core element of who you are, you know, and no baby likes change. And of course, so that's a cheap one. But it's like, you don't like change. And that baby, 27 years later, I don't want to, it doesn't want to change. It's an amazing thing. I love human beings because we're so interesting. Can we have that one question did you have the other question? Just one more question.
Do you get to create your own lines as Mario? And what is your
Oh, thank you for asking. Do I get to create my own lines as Mario? Thank you for asking that, because I got so involved, because I'm so want you guys to have a fun career. I forgot the part. Yes. You know, I get a phone call. They, come up. We're going to record a game. Wow, yeah. And then I fly up. We have usually we have like a sushi lunch. We watch animations of the thing, so I can go hop, woo, hop, hop, hey, so watch those. I have a script, and we record the script and watch the video of the animation, and then we put the script down and we just improvise. And it's a great creative environment because I've got ideas, and I sit there writing them on my script as I go. What if I did this? What if I did that? What if I did? And then, the director's like, okay, try that. Okay, try that. Okay, yeah. And so we're back and forth. It's a great. I have the greatest director, this guy named Nate Bildorf. So supportive. And that's the other thing too. Is I can tell you from a perspective is support your actor and say like, oh, that was great. Because actors are like puppies, you like, oh, it was, waggle, 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 and then, because that positive reinforcement brings out more and more and more, and he plays me like a fiddle. He knows how, he knows just how to get it, because I'm also the actor that I will do 850 takes of each line of, yep, 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 I'll just keep doing, so you also have to go, okay, that's great, we got it. We got it. We got it. Otherwise I'll go on forever. So it's a great creative thing. And yes, we get to improvise. We get to do straight direct things, which is great. It's a wonderful creative environment. So I know I'm sorry I have to wrap up, and I want to just say thank you very much. And I really hope go out there and change the world with your enthusiasm, your joy. And art.
Thank you very much. Degenen die nog graag iets willen laten handtekenen door Charles, dat zou kunnen. Dus we hebben nog ongeveer 10-tal minuutjes. Dus als jullie graag dat wensen, dan kan dat nu. Of een foto. Vanavond